Place here? Oh, okay, cool, okay. Thank you very much. All right. Madam Clerk, if you can call the roll, we'll call the meeting of May 24th to order.
Calling the roll, Mr. Miller. Mr. Brady.
He was here.
Mr. Germana.
Present.
Gallagher. Here. Mr. Schrein.
Here.
Ms. Conwell.
Here.
Mr. Jones.
Here.
Mr. Rogers. Ms. Simon.
Here.
Mr. Greenspan.
Here.
Ms. Conley.
Present.
A quorum is present.
Knowing the absence of Mr. Rogers, is there a motion for his absence to be excused?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Schrein, seconded by Mr. Gallagher. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, Mr. Rogers is excused. Will you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For the moment of silence, I'd like to call on Mr. Germana.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The month of May is the month of National Mental Health Awareness, and I had the opportunity to attend the annual meeting of the Adams Board last week at the Hilton Garden Center, and Bill Denahan had a tape having to do with 911 operators being able to be trained to help people that are in need. And we're hoping to have that tape today, but it was a gentleman that was called 911 because he didn't know where else to call. He was troubled, and you could hear his trembling voice. And you had this operator that calmly, talked to this gentleman, and we found that this gentleman was a veteran and had different, well, obviously it was mental health issues, and to the point where she asked him a series of questions and found out that he actually had a knife, and she talked this gentleman out to go into the kitchen, place the knife in the sink, and this 911 dispatcher, through good training, saved this gentleman's life. And so the meditation, silent meditation today is thinking about the fact that we're making great strides in training our 911 dispatchers to help people that need help.
And for a second moment of silent meditation, I'd like to call on Mr. Schrein.
Madam President, I think that as we call together our families on Monday of next week, the meditation that I would ask in everybody's hearts and their beliefs is to recognize all those folks who sacrificed their lives and in the service of our country that we'll see at the cemeteries, that we'll see at the flags, that'll be draped on the various different locations throughout our city. And remember that Memorial Day is the whole reason for the holiday. It's not to have the hot dogs and all the other aspects. It's to recognize all of our service members who gave their time and energy.
Thank you, gentlemen. Yesterday, I had the honor of representing Cuyahoga County at the ceremony where the city of Cleveland dedicated a portion of South Marginal Boulevard to Weatherman Dick Goddard, who has served our community for 50 years as a weatherman, apparently the longest-serving weatherman in the nation. And it was my pleasure to be in the company of a number of elected officials, including Councilperson Zone, who was here a little earlier, and other officials and TV personalities. And I did have an opportunity to snap a picture of one of Cleveland's legends, Big Chuck and Little John, and I just wanted to show that on the monitor.
Oh, that's Big Chuck.
And Councilman Germana, here's a copy of that for your program. All right, is there anyone signed in for public comment?
No, Madam Chair, no one has signed in to address council, and may the record reflect that Mr. Brady has joined the meeting.
All right, thank you. The minutes of the May 10th meeting have been circulated, and I assume everyone has had an opportunity to read those. Is there a motion to approve those?
Second.
Was that Mr. Brady?
Mr. Greenspan.
Oh, moved by Mr. Greenspan and seconded by Mr. Germana. Is there any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye, opposed. Okay, the minutes are adopted. Mr. Fitzgerald.
Thank you very much, Madam Council President. Just a few items. One is, it was reported in the paper this morning. Yesterday we had a presentation that myself and Sheriff Reed gave to the Cuyahoga County Police Chiefs Association regarding our law enforcement initiative regarding community policing. And council was well represented there by Councilman Jones. We look forward to discussing the details of how that's going to be implemented across the county at your pleasure. But we're excited about it, and the response from the police chiefs, especially in these times of tough budget decisions when it comes to safety forces, was very well received. It's not the only thing that we're going to do when it comes to law enforcement. We're looking at some other things when it comes to emergency operations centers and some other things that we think we're going to be able to do later in the year. But we're very happy that we think we're going to be able to put more deputies out on the street in the very near term. One thing that I do want to correct in terms of the newspaper coverage of it, I'm always hesitant to do that, but in the headline it did say that it was for suburbs, or it said something for suburban areas. It is not targeted exclusively to suburbs. The point that I made in the presentation was that it wasn't just a City of Cleveland program, that it was going to have a county-wide scope. There happen to be a lot of suburban police chiefs there, but it's a concept that I have discussed on a couple different occasions with Mayor Jackson, and it's going to be equally applicable to urban and suburban settings, I think. So I wanted to make sure that was clear. As you may have heard, unfortunately, we had another round of layoffs today. There are 21 positions that were eliminated today. That brings actually our total payroll savings for the year in terms of offices that report to the county executive's offices to a little over $7 million. As I've said many times, we're doing that really for two reasons. One is because we know we have to absorb these cuts that are coming from federal and especially state funding, but also because we are continuing department by department to try to right-size those offices. And the majority of those position reductions, as I think I mentioned, are in the coroner's office in the Department of Development. It is not the last round that we're going to do. We're continuing to go through function by function and try to find efficiencies in terms of personnel wherever we possibly can. It was about $1.4 million in terms of the dollar amount in salary and benefits for this particular round of layoffs. I'm going to have to ask your patience. I'm going to have to be running out of here shortly. There is the official opening of the Global Cleveland Initiative over at Cleveland City Hall. I'm going to go over there and speak very briefly at 6:30, and then I will be back later for the remainder of your meeting. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Do you want us to hold Mr. Steen until you come back in
Hold
terms of
him,
his swearing in? And
No, we can. I mean, where is it next on the agenda?
we can actually. Is it okay? We can take that out of order. Yeah. Okay. As long as it's okay with Mr. Miller. Okay. Then we're going to take this out of order. Item 9B, consideration of motions of council for first reading adoption or suspension of the rules. Mr. Miller.
Madam President, I move that Rule 9D, requiring ordinances and resolutions to be heard at 3 separate regular council meetings, and Rule number 12A, requiring reference to committee, be suspended, and that motion number 2011-0033 and 2011-0034 be considered for final passage at tonight's meeting.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Miller and seconded by Mr. Schrein for suspension of the rules. Is there any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Right, and opposed? The ayes have it. The rules are suspended. And let's move on to item M2011-0034. I'd like to indicate for the record that I am in possession of a copy of the certification of Mr. Steen's CPA license, which I will give to the clerk and she can stamp in for the record.
So.
All right, Mr. Steen, do you want to come? Oh, no, we got to vote on it. Is there a motion?
You need to read
Oh, you
it.
got to read it, sorry. You get me out of the flow here.
Motion number 2011-0034, a motion confirming the county executive's appointment of Wade Steen upon his taking the oath of office as the fiscal officer of Cuyahoga County and declaring the necessity that this motion become immediately effective.
To adopt.
Second.
Mr. Miller and seconded by Mr. Schrein. And all right, for the record, I'm going to hand the clerk the copy, the certified copy of his license. Is there any discussion? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the ayes have it. And Mr. Steen, if you'd like to come forward and be sworn in.
I, Wade Steen,
I, Wade Steen,
do solemnly swear
that I will support and uphold
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio,
and the Charter of Cuyahoga County,
and the Charter of Cuyahoga County,
that I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
honestly, and impartially
discharge and perform all of the duties incumbent upon me as fiscal officer in and for the County of Cuyahoga, State of Ohio, according to the best of my ability and understanding. So help me God. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Sure, sure.
All right, congratulations and welcome to Cuyahoga County.
Thank you.
All right, let's go ahead and do 0033 since we already have the suspension of the rule. Then we'll go back to item 8.
Motion number 2011-0033, a motion amending motion number M 2011-0027, dated April 26, 2011, which appointed individuals to serve on boards of revision for Cuyahoga County by changing the effective date for Robert Hennessy from May 9, 2011 to May 23, 2011, and declaring the necessity that this motion become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
And moved by Mr. Schrein and seconded by Ms. Conwell. Is there any discussion? right, as the clerk indicated, this just had to do with a matter of changing dates, the starting dates. All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, the ayes have it. All right, we can go back to item number 8. Consideration of motions of council for first reading and referral to committee.
Motion number 2011-0031, a motion confirming the county executive's reappointment of Stephen Minter to serve on the Cuyahoga Arts and Culture Board of Trustees.
Right, this matter is referred to the Human Resources Committee, ably chaired by Ms. Conwell.
Motion number 2011-0032, a motion confirming the county executive's appointment of Vanessa L. Whiting, Esquire, to serve on the Metro Health System Board of Trustees.
This matter is referred to a joint committee of Human Resources and Health and Human Services. All right, we can move on then to item 10, consideration of resolution of council for first reading adoption under suspension of the rules.
Madam President.
Mr. Miller.
Madam President, I move that Rule 9D, requiring that ordinances and resolutions be heard at 3 different regular council meetings, and Rule 12A, requiring reference to committee, be suspended, and that resolution number 2011-0186 and 2011-0187 be considered for final passage at tonight's meeting.
Moved by Mr. Miller and seconded by Mr. Germana. Is there any discussion? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, the ayes have it. The rules are suspended. Madam Clerk.
Resolution number 2011-0186, a resolution providing for the appointment of Trevor McAleer as Legislative Budget Advisor to serve the Council of Cuyahoga County and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Conwell and seconded by Mr. Schron. Is there any discussion? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, opposed? The ayes have it. Item 0187.
Resolution number 2011-0187, a resolution providing for the appointment of Khalil Huff as Administrative Assistant 2 to serve the Council of Cuyahoga County and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
Second.
I moved by Mr. Jones and seconded by Ms. Simon. Is there any discussion? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, the ayes have it. All right, we will have 2 new employees for the Cuyahoga County Council. All right, item 11, consideration of resolution of council for first reading and referral to committee. Madam Clerk.
Resolution number 2011-0188, a resolution providing for the submission to the electorate of an amendment to Article 3, Section 3 of the Charter of Cuyahoga County and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
All right, this matter will be referred to the Rules Committee.
Resolution number 2011-0189, a resolution providing for the submission to the electorate of an amendment to Article 3, Section 4, Subsection 2 of the Charter of Cuyahoga County and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
This will be referred to the Rules Committee.
Ready to move on to the next item?
Oh, item 12, consideration of ordinances of council for first reading and referral to committee.
Ordinance number 2011-0025, an ordinance establishing additional criteria for the council districting commission to use for the purpose of drawing district boundaries and declaring the necessity that this ordinance become immediately effective.
This will be referred to the Rules Committee, which will be meeting next Tuesday at 1 o'clock.
Ordinance number 2011-0026, an ordinance adopting the 5-year economic development plan in accordance with Section 7.05 of the Charter of Cuyahoga County and declaring the necessity that this ordinance become immediately effective.
And I understand that Mr. Gallagher wanted to be added on to the sponsorship of this motion, and it will be referred to the Economic Development Committee. Mr. Schreiner.
Yes, Madam President. There will be a meeting of the Economic Development Commission tomorrow at 2 o'clock from 2 to roughly 3-ish, depending on how long Mr. Benders is in his presentation tomorrow. It is over at the Cleveland Metropolitan School District. It will be taking place, and that's obviously open to the public to go over the economic development plan. From there, we will have our committee meeting will take place on June 5th at 3 o'clock, at which Mr. Bender probably will be producing probably the same PowerPoint that he's producing tomorrow, but for the benefit of the Economic Development Committee within the council. So that will be on June 5th, open to the public at 3 o'clock for presentation in this room, and then tomorrow for the Economic Development Commission of the plan will be over at the Cleveland Metropolitan School District.
All right, thank you, Mr. Schrein. Mr. Greenspan?
June 6th? Oh, it's not the Sunday? It's the Monday? Okay. It's the Monday. Sorry. Oops. Mr. Benders and I are very...
Okay. Item 13, consideration of a resolution for first reading adoption under suspension of the rules.
Madam President?
Mr. Miller.
Madam President, I move that Rule Number 9D, requiring ordinances and resolutions to be read at 3 different regular meetings of council, and Rule 12A, requiring reference to committee, be suspended, and that Resolution Number 2011-0190 be considered for final passage at tonight's meeting.
Second.
By Mr. Miller and seconded by Mr. Schrein. Or do somebody else? Is there any discussion on suspension of the rules? Okay, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the ayes have it. The rules are suspended. Item 0190.
Resolution number 2011-0190, a resolution amending the 2011 annual appropriation measure by providing for additional fiscal appropriations from the general fund and other funding sources for appropriation transfers between budget accounts and for cash transfers between budgetary funds in order to meet the budgetary needs of various county departments, offices, and agencies, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Is there a motion? So moved by Mr. Greenspan, seconded by Mr. Miller. Is there any discussion on this? Everybody had an opportunity to go over the various items?
Madam President?
Yes, Mr. Miller.
I did go over the items and directed a couple questions to Mr. Rubino, and he answered them to my satisfaction. I feel comfortable.
I did as likewise. We had an opportunity to go over the figures. All right, any other discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, the ayes have it. The resolution is adopted. Item 14, consideration of resolutions for first readings and referral to committee.
Resolution number 2011-0191, a resolution authorizing the county executive to make an application for allocation from county motor vehicle $5 license tax funds in the amount of $446,707.88 for repair and resurfacing of Tiedemann Road from Brook Park Road to Memphis Avenue in the city of Brooklyn, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
This matter is referred to the Public Works Committee.
Resolution number 2011-0192, a resolution authorizing the county executive to prepare and enter into an amendment to contract number CE 0800-631 with Michael Baker Jr. Incorporated for additional consultant engineering services for construction of Stage 3 of the Towpath Trail Extension from Steel Yard Commons to Tremont Trailhead to change the scope of services and the terms effective May 24, 2011, and for additional funds in the amount of $700,197, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Okay, this will be referred to the Public Works Committee.
Resolution number 2011-0193, a resolution authorizing the county executive to enter into a contract with Educational Service Center of Cuyahoga County in the amount not to exceed $531,112 for fiscal and administrative services for county at-risk home visiting services for the Help Me Grow program for the Invest in Children program for the period July 1, 2011 through June 30, 2012, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
This matter is referred to the Health and Human Services Committee.
Resolution number 2011-0194, a resolution authorizing the county executive to enter into a contract with Emerald Development and Economic Network Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $10,022,700 for the Shelter Plus Care Program in connection with the fiscal year 2010 Continuum of Care Homeless Assistance Grant Program for the period April 10th, 2011 through April 9th, 2012, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
This matter will be referred to the Health and Human Services Committee. Item 15, consideration of an ordinance for first reading and referral to committee.
Ordinance number 2011-0027, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2011-0010 to establish divisions and sections within the Department of Public Works and authorizing the Director of Public Works to create such other divisions and sections that the Director determines to be necessary for the performance of the powers and duties granted to the Director by Charter Section 5.05 and such powers and duties as shall be established by ordinance.
This matter will be referred to Public Works. Item 16 on the agenda, committee reports and consideration of resolutions for second reading adoption under suspension of the rules. Mr. Miller.
Madam President, I move that Rule 9D requiring ordinances and resolutions to be read at 3 separate council meetings be suspended, and that resolutions number 2011-0179, 0180, 0181, 0182, 0183, and 0184 be considered for final passage at tonight's meeting.
Second.
All right, moved by Mr. Miller and seconded by Mr. Brady. Is there any discussion? All right, all those in favor of suspending the rule indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, the ayes have it. The rules are suspended. Madam Clerk.
Resolution number 2011-0179, a resolution authorizing the county executive to enter into a contract with Chem Steel Construction Company in the amount of $1,163,153 for rehabilitation of Old Mill Road Bridge number 162 over the Chagrin River in the village of Gates Mills, authorizing the county engineer on behalf of the county executive to make an application for allocation from county motor vehicle $5 license tax funds to fund said contract, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Conwell and seconded by Mr. Shrine. Is there any discussion? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All right, opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Item 0180.
Resolution number 2011-0180, a resolution authorizing the county executive to prepare and enter into an amendment to contract number CE 12377 with Glaus, Pyle, Schomer, Burns, and DeHaven Incorporated, doing business as GPD Associates, for consultant engineering services for replacement of Bel Air Road Bridge number 24 over Big Creek and replacement of West 130th Street Bridge number 64 over a branch of Big Creek in the city of Cleveland and village of Lindale, to change the scope of services effective May 10th, 2011, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $243,541.66, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Germana, seconded by Mr. Schron. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair, this
Yes.
this resolution was explained at a Public Works Committee by our Public Works Director, and we recommended approval.
All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, the ayes have it.
That's our old stomping grounds. Yep.
Resolution number 2011-0181, a resolution authorizing the county executive to enter into amendments to contracts with care coordination providers for family and youth involvement services for the Cuyahoga Tapestry System of Care for the period January 1, 2010 through March 31, 2011, to exercise an option to extend the time period to March 31, 2012, and for additional funds, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective. For contract number CE 10,033 with Applewood Centers Incorporated in the amount of $713,000. 2, for contract number CE 10,034 with Beachbrook in the amount of $952,453. 3, for contract number CE 10,035 with Catholic Charities Services Corporation in the amount of $773,485. And 4, for contract number CE 10,037 with the Cleveland Christian Home Incorporated in the amount of $797,403.17.
Move approval.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Brady and seconded by Mr. Miller. Is there any discussion? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Item 0182.
Resolution number 2011-0182, a resolution authorizing the county executive to enter into amendments to contracts with care coordination providers for family and youth involvement services for the Cuyahoga Tapestry System of Care for the period January 1, 2010 through March 31, 2011, to exercise an option to extend the time period to March 31, 2012, and for additional funds, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective. 1, for contract number CE 10,036 with Catholic Charities Community Services Corporation, doing business as St. Martin de Porres Family Center, in the amount of $440,222.67. 2, for contract number CE 10,038 with the East End Neighborhood House Association in the amount of $494,530. 3, for contract number CE 10,039 with University Settlement Incorporated in the amount of $454,095. And 4, for contract number CE 10,040 with Westside Community House in the amount of $532,556.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Schron and seconded by Mr. Brady. Is there any discussion? All right, Ms. Conwell would like to add her name as a sponsor. All right, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Resolution 0183.
Resolution number 2011-0183, a resolution authorizing the county executive to enter into an amendment to agreement number AG 10301 with Cleveland Public Library for administrative services for the MyCom Transitions Program for the period January 1, 2011 through December 31, 2011, to change the scope of services effective February 15, 2011, and for additional funds in the amount of $395,000.
Approval.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Brady, seconded by Mr. Schron. Is there any discussion? Okay, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Item 0184.
Resolution number 2011-0184, a resolution authorizing the county executive to enter into an amendment to contract number CE 0900-553 with Catholic Charities Services Corporation for comprehensive pre-employment screening services for Ohio Works First applicants for the period July 1, 2009 through June 30, 2011, to exercise an option to extend the time period to June 30, 2012, and for additional funds in the amount of $574,551.
Move approval. Second.
All right, moved by Ms. Conwell, seconded by Mr. Brady. Is there any discussion? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the ayes have it. All right, are there any miscellaneous committee reports?
Madam Chair,
Mr. Gallagher, sorry.
I was quiet tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let's see here, Wednesday, June 1st, Councilman Kevin Conwell, the City of Cleveland, has invited the Public Safety Committee to joint Public Safety Committee hearing in room 217 at Cleveland City Hall. That's 10 a.m. in room 217 on June 1st. All are welcome, and the discussion will be about the downtown emergency evacuation plan and also a presentation from the Office of Homeland Security. Should be interesting.
And has that been placed on the website?
That has.
Okay. All right, any other committee reports?
Yeah, Madam President,
Ms. Greenspan?
I'm sorry, I have a scheduling conflict next Tuesday at 1 p.m. I'll get with committee members to change possibly the time to be on the same day, but later in the day for that Ethics Committee meeting.
All right. As long as you notify us so we can change it for the website.
I'll send an email out today
Okay.
to
Madam
coordinate
Clerk?
time.
I was just thinking in terms of the possible impending special meeting.
Yeah, it is possible that we may have to have a special meeting on that day. So that could work out. We can just push your meeting a little bit farther. So we'll notify.
Would that special meeting be at 6 p.m. or 4?
Well, if that's agreeable to the other members of council, we were thinking more like 4.
Oh.
So we'll
Madam
notify.
Chairperson?
Yeah.
Could I inquire as to the special meeting?
Approve them.
I was approached.
I was must have been out.
No, well, Mr. Fitzgerald discussed the possibility of getting the medical director in place. We cannot confirm him now because we don't have his medical license, but we wouldn't have another regular meeting until the 14th, and there was some desire to get him in place. So if we get that information, we will have a special meeting and properly notify all parties. It'll be posted on the website. Right.
Madam President, if that special meeting was at 6 p.m., then I would suggest that we have the ethics meeting at 4 p.m.
All right, is that agreeable to everyone?
On the Ethics Committee.
Okay, all right.
We'll move the meeting to 4 p.m.,
All right.
the Ethics Committee meeting to 4 p.m.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, any other miscellaneous committee reports?
Madam Chair.
Mr. Jermaine and then Ms. Simon.
Madam Chair, the County Commissioners Association of Ohio has a subcommittee of Metropolitan County Commissioners that is meeting monthly, and 2 out of the 3 months they do by telephone conference call. And this month's meeting is this coming Thursday at 3 o'clock. So I will be participating in that conference call since I've volunteered to be on that committee, having to deal with my position as intergovernmental relations and collaboration. And if anybody else desires to be part of that call, I can arrange it so that you could call in and have the conference. The monthly meetings generally last about 1 hour.
All right, thank you. Ms. Simon?
Thank you, Madam President. Just as an update on the Justice Affairs Committee, we're going to be meeting to continue our look at the vision for the prosecutor's office as it relates to the law department. Specifically, I'm going to have members of the transition team that address this issue come speak before us, and I'll be inviting the prosecutor's office as well to give their input and different viewpoints in the vision as we move forward, as well as the budgetary and financial efficiencies of both those offices and how they relate today. And it's not scheduled yet, but I believe hopefully in the next 2 weeks.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? I'm surprised when I hear Mr. Jones. He's got the hardest working committee. All right, anything further? Anything under miscellaneous business? All right, is there any public comment unrelated to the agenda? Has anyone signed in, or does anyone like to make a public comment, even if you didn't sign in? All right, is there, our next regularly scheduled meeting will be Tuesday on June 14th at 4 o'clock for a work session and 6 o'clock for a regular meeting, unless we make a decision relative to a special meeting, which will be properly noticed on the website. If there's nothing further to come before this council, is there a motion to adjourn?
So move. Second.
Mr. Schron and seconded by Mr. Jermaine. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.